touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. The fallout from the Epstein saga nightmare crisis for the Trump administration continues to boil over into absolute chaos inside of federal law enforcement in Washington, D.C., with Dan Bongino saying that he will resign if Pam Bondi stays on as Attorney General. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Kash Patel as well, saying that he is going to leave if Bongino leaves. You can either pick. It's either Bongino or Bondi. The pick is obvious. Bondi must go, says Megyn Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Kash Patel rumored to also be considering resignation if Pam Bondi stays on, as according to reporting here. Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi has sparred over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and it looks like Bongino and Kash are done being humiliated. Bongino is reportedly furious with Attorney General Pam Bondi over her handling of the Epstein files, which has led to many to believe he could walk off the job. A source close to Bongino says that he's effectively issued an ultimatum saying he's about to clean out his desk if Pam stays on. Bongino left a lucrative career in broadcasting to take this job. Ladies and gentlemen, the entire internet is taking one side here. I'm not sure about Kash leaving, but the report that Dan Bongino is cleaning up after Pam Bondi is 100% accurate, and he's done. It comes after months of frustrations. I have airtight multiple sourcing on this. Dan isn't the only one who feels this way. Kash and Dan for months have tried to get Pam to understand the importance of full transparency in her department, especially on the Epstein stuff, for reasons becoming apparent. It's fallen on deaf ears, and Pam is giving multiple avenues to pursue and infinite examples of people who need to be brought in front of a special counsel. She has refused to budge every single time. This is a real nightmare. Susie Wiles, a long-standing close and personal friend of Pam's, in the event that Trump would consider keeping Dan and maybe Kash, if he wants out too, it's likely that his chief of staff will recommend against it. Layers of problems. I don't think Bongino is going back to the office on Monday if something doesn't happen to Pam. Or even a special counsel search announced, perhaps. It would represent a massive victory for the swamp and indeed sex traffickers and predators. Letting Kash and Dan walk while keeping Pam cover-up Bondi would be the cause of total revolt from the base. That's a matter of fact. It would be a disaster for the midterms, and there's no universe where that can happen without major blowback. She's distracting from huge wins. She simply has to go. Kash Patel now considering leaving also. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, big fans of Kash and Dan. On this channel, I know them both personally. I know them to be of upstanding character with huge hearts, both of them. Chaos, as Kash Patel and Dan Bongino consider quitting over the Epstein files. Nightmare. A nightmare that was, of course, leaked to left-wing media, leaked to Axios, an unsigned memo. The exact opposite of what the administration said they were going to do on the Epstein issue, case, clients, all of it covered up. It's true. This is now a matter of fact that it was covered up. It's a nightmare. Sources close to Bongino tell me it's either him or Pam Bondi, and he will not stay at the FBI if she stays at the DOJ. And a source close to the DOJ says Kash Patel also wants Pam Bondi gone. He'd consider leaving if Bongino leaves. The more frustration with the documents that Bondi hasn't released. Sources confirm to me the blow-up between Bongino and Bondi are very real. It's been brewing for months and came to a head at the White House.
Whether you believe it or not.
He's not been in office. He's not been in the office since Wednesday, it looks like. Some said he left the office on Friday. Now it looks like Wednesday. Most of the frustration of the FBI relates to the handling of the Epstein disclosures and disputes on how to proceed. Bongino appears ready to resign immediately if Bondi remains in office. Goodness gracious. If Bondi's fired, the role of Attorney General then floated potentially to Ron DeSantis. Wow. Private push behind the scenes. Potentially see Ken Paxton there.
Yeah.
Goodness. However, the discussion has been taking place for several months about who could be Bondi's replacement if she was ever fired or resigned. It would be a huge loss for the country if we lost Dan Bongino at the FBI. Dan Bongino will not stay. Pam must be fired. This is not negotiable. I stand with Dan Bongino. A lot of people are making this stance, including some people we deeply respect. Glenn Beck and Steve Bannon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave you with them as this is all just breaking news, and we have to head out and go give a speech at a Turning Point event. So there's all the headline that we have. Glenn Beck and Steve Bannon making a impassioned plea to please not let Dan Bongino go. Fire Pam Bondi. Keep Dan Bongino, please. Listen to the beating heart of MAGA, Steve Bannon, one of the president's close personal allies and friends, Glenn Beck. Here we go.
I got a comment on what's happening in Washington with Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. A direct plea to President Trump. Please, President Trump, I know you're not involved at this level, I know that you are busy working on huge projects, but America can't lose Dan Bongino. He has so much credibility. Everybody knows him, loves him. Pam Bondi has created so much doubt and chaos in this whole thing. There's no reason for all of this. Either it's a massive cover-up or she's just fouled this up every single time. Please, let's not lose Dan Bongino. If there's a choice, I hope not, but please, fire Pam Bondi. Keep Dan Bongino, please.
That's Glenn Beck on the side of the road in Idaho? Maybe in Wyoming? I don't know. I don't know where Glenn Beck lives. But before I go off on probably a horrible rant, welcome to ROMA Nation. I'm AK, your favorite guy, and tonight we're diving into one of the most talked about people in the news over the last 6 years, Jeffrey Epstein. What was his life like? How did he become one of the most infamous human beings on the planet? But if there's anything that I have to say, is that if there was one thing that all of America have been on the same page about, is this damn list. You know it. I know it. Everybody in America knows it. And I know this administration knows it. Because there's no way in hell that you're going to sit here and tell me and everybody here in America, after everything that we've gone through in the last 6 years, that all of a sudden the one most important piece of information in this case now no longer exists. I'm sorry, but there are plenty of people that have seen this list. There are plenty of people around this entire country that have enough information to blow this wide open without that list. But you're going to sit here and tell us now that all of a sudden it doesn't exist? Like, I'm sorry. No, not only is nobody buying that, but we know you're lying. The question is, why? Why? Is there that much of a powerful force out there outside of this administration that has everybody by the balls? Yeah, I don't think so. Because there are plenty of people in this country that are willing to die for that list. So nice try. But in other news, we got some rants to go over about the recent raids in California and a brand new Be or Not. So sit back, relax, get your popcorn ready, because ROMA Nation starts now.
I'm hiding of you, so lonely. I'm hiding of you, so lonely.
What's going on, folks? We are back for ROMA Nation. We were out last week, obviously, because of the 4th of July. Spent some time with the family. Went out and saw some fireworks. Maybe lit off some fireworks of my own. But guess what? I still got all 10 of my fingers. That's right. All right. So before we get into our next segment, don't forget to go to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check out our lineup of podcasts. We got from history to news, pop culture, true crime. We got a show for all your needs, including a conspiracy show coming up. And we also have sports and gaming coming up later in the year. So things are blowing up here at ROMA Nation. So if you want to be a part of this family, join our Discord. where all the magic happens, right up here in the upper right-hand corner. Yes, the Discord link is fixed for like the bajillionth time. And also all of our socials as well. If you want to also be a podcast host, producer, researcher, or writer for ROMA Nation, this is your launch pad. You can hit it up at the top of the page, all the socials. You can scroll to the bottom of the page where we've got our merch site where you can show your support and help us out, keep the lights on, help us work on some projects that we're doing, getting some people out in the streets. Also, you can go down to the PayPal link here where you can make a monetary contribution to help us out, or you can super chat us. You can go ahead and join one of our levels on our Discord. Either way, become a part of the fastest growing podcast community on the net. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, does anybody sense, I don't know, a rant coming? Because I do right now.
Now children need to get our out of order. When you know you're right now, remember your own. Remember your own. We're not doing nothing. We are not the enemy. 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 We are not the enemy.
How many little baseball players don't have shin guards because you guys have them?
Thank you.
What's wrong with you? Is that a huddle break?
You really want to tell your government
What?
short keys?
You got guns against people. Zero? What are you doing here?
Short keys.
Have any of you ever worked as hard as these farmers? Any of you? A single one of you ever worked as hard as these farmers? One of you. Raise your hand if you think you have.
Oh, that was ready to use it. You're ready, huh?
You think any of you have worked as hard as these field workers?
What do you need?
Who is gonna pick our vegetables, you sons of?
We are not the enemy.
We are not the enemy.
Hey, short kid, if you're directing this, stay right here in the front. What do you need your ammunition for? Just tell us. Everything's non-violent here. So you can go and treat people like animals?
This is an abomination of the flag. It's an abomination.
Abomination.
Are these people good? We're angry. Are they not?
What do they know about that? An abomination to the flag? Did you know ICE existed, like, for many administrations? So I don't know why all of a sudden this is a big thing. Okay, I think we get the point here. So, we're gonna dig deep here. Hold on, my camera is acting funny. Give me a second. Am I still fuzzy? There we go. Okay, so there was a massive federal raid at the Glass House Farms, a licensed cannabis nursery. Which, by the way, people were saying that it's a farm. Yeah, it is a farm, but it's not a farm for what you think it is. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But this is in Southern California. The operation turned chaotic. There was hundreds that were arrested, tear gas deployed, even gunfire. And in the crossfire, migrant laborers, undocumented workers, legal citizens, children. And then tragically, one of the workers fell to their death. So tonight, we're laying out the facts, unfiltered, what prompted the raid, who got hurt, where's the accountability in all of this? And then always, what are your thoughts, right? So it's about justice, labor rights, immigration, power. It's messy, but it is necessary to talk about. So let's get into Reuters here. All right. So one California worker dead, hundreds arrested after cannabis farm raid. No, I do not want to subscribe to you. Can I get out of this? Probably not. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up again. Because it's... There we go. All right. Let's do that. Share my screen and... Boom. There it is. Oh, nope. It's still there. Get away from me. All right. Well, I'll try to do the best that I can. But it looks like Reuters has got me set up. All right. So I'll just go over a couple of cliff points that I've got here. So the raid was on July 10th. Federal agents from ICE and CBP supported the National Guard, executed a criminal search warrants at two glasshouse farm sites in Camarillo and Carpinteria. I think that's how you say it. Carpinteria, California, over suspected child labor and visa fraud violations. Hundreds of the protesters confronted the task force, and authorities deployed tear gas, rubber bullets, and smoke canisters. And a protester allegedly opened fire, and no agents were hit. But that's something we're going to have to look at specifically, because who is this person that opened fire? I mean, it's one thing to protest. I mean, I'm not even going to say that throwing rocks at vehicles are okay. But at this point, it's proven that these protests have become violent beyond a shadow of doubt. And, eventually somebody's going to get hurt or worse. All right. So, of course, we heard about the farm worker that later identified as Jamie Alanis, fell 30 feet during the raid, died from the injuries, and at least 3 others were hospitalized during the raid. So here we're going to talk about everything. But here's a breaking story on that. That's not what I did. There we go. Really? They took the video down? Did they really do that? Holy crap. I wonder why. Why did they do that? That's actually very interesting. Why would they take down the video? I must be onto something here. Because let's see, I've got it here. Yeah, no. They're not letting me play the video. My goodness. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. Sheesh. All right. Well, let's move on to The Guardian. All right. So, farm worker dies the day after chaotic immigration raid at California farm. Jamie Alanis died after sustaining injuries during the raid, where authorities say they arrested about 200 people. A farm worker died Friday from injuries that he sustained a day earlier in the raids of 2 California cannabis farm sites, as a U.S. immigration authorities confirm they arrested 200 workers after these tense standoffs with authorities. So now it's not an actual farm where they're harvesting lettuce or anything like that. So anybody that says that, you can go ahead and put that to rest and shove it where. All right, so Jamie Alanis' death was confirmed in a social media post by the United Farm Workers Advocacy Group. Quote, "We tragically can confirm that the farmer worker had died of injuries he sustained as a result of yesterday's immigration enforcement action," the post read. The Department of Homeland Security said that in a statement that authorities executed a criminal search warrants in Carpinteria in Camarillo, California on Thursday. The arrest immigrant suspected of being in the country illegally There were also at least 10 immigrant children on the site, the statement said. And that's really important because what are those children doing there? What are they doing on the farm? They're not watching their parents work. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to take the 72-hour rule on this and wait till Monday to see what they have to say about that, because clearly people like to have amnesia when it comes to things like this. All right. So the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that authorities executed a criminal search. Oh, I already read that. Let's see. 4 U.S. citizens were arrested for assaulting and resisting officers. The department said authorities are offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of one person suspected of firing a gun at federal agents. And at least one worker was hospitalized with grave injuries. I mean, if you're going to fire at federal workers, what do you expect is going to happen? There's going to be a bounty on your head, obviously. But most importantly, the children that are at this farm, and when we talk about the 350,000 missing children across the country, which is what? I mean, regardless of whether it's 1%, 0.1% of our country, that is a lot of freaking children. And it makes you wonder, like, what type of organization can stay alive here in the United States to be able to take 350,000 children. That's a scary thought, to say the least, right? But let's continue. Agents found 10 undocumented minors, 8 unaccompanied, launching a federal child labor and human trafficking investigation. California Governor Gavin Newsom lambasted the operation as militarized and inhumane, as if he doesn't have enough problems already. Representative Salud Cabriel was barred from observing the raid. Glasshouse Farm maintains full compliance with multiple legal licenses. The incident has raised debate over liability. Should laborers and employers be held accountable? Okay, let's go back a little bit. So there's a representative that was barred from observing the raid. I actually disagree with this. I think anybody on private land, if the private owner allows those people to be on the land to observe and document, I believe as a U.S. citizen, you should do that. You should be able to do that. Okay? I'm actually on their side when it comes to that. All right? Regardless. Because that is our right. It's our right to not be incriminated. To be incriminated. It's our right to be able to observe whether it's the local government, the state government, the federal government are breaking laws. I actually do agree with that. But anyways, going back to, so who is Glass House Farms? All right. So this is their page here. If I got that up, there we go. All right. It says California Cannabis Farm. Once again, proving that this is not some regular inky-dinky farm. All right. It's not doing lettuce. It's not doing potatoes. It's not doing raspberries. No, it's doing cannabis. All right. So we can stop with this nonsense. All right. Simply great flower. We are proud of what we grow. That's why our expert cultivators craft our cannabis flower by hand in the state-of-the-art greenhouses drenched in the SoCal sun. It's about quality. But that still doesn't tell you who they are, right? So here, let me pull this up. All right. From greenhouse cultivation operations to its manufacturing practices, from brand building to retailing, Glasshouse efforts are rooted in the respect of the people, the environment, and the community that the co-founder, Kyle Kazan, which we'll go over in a minute, chairman and CEO, and Graham Farrar, board member and president, have fostered from the beginning, though its portfolio of consumer brands, which includes Glasshouse Farms, plus, as well, Forbidden Flowers, Field, and Mama Sue Wellness, the Glasshouse brands team strives each day to fulfill its mission to provide sustainable cannabis products for the benefit of all. All right, so now that we know that, let's move on to who they are and how they got their licensing, right? And I still think I'm a little busy. There we go. I don't know why I'm so fuzzy right now, but all right. So, this is from the state of California. Department of Cannabis Control, California, notices of exemption of CEQA, California Department of Cannabis Control. All right, so the Projectile Glasshouse Camarillo Cultivation LLC, Cultivation Nursery and Processor, Ventura County, says here, project description. The Department of Cannabis Control, pursuant of authority granted under Business and Possession Code Division 10, Chapter 2, Section 26012, approved cannabis licenses submitted on 10/18/2022 through 10/18 or 10/24/2022 by Glasshouse Camarillo Cultivation LLC. Glasshouse, well, you know the name, applied for 72 small mixed light Tier 1 licenses in an existing greenhouse using light deprivation and natural light. They also applied for nursery license, an existing greenhouse, and processor license existing buildings. So now we know it is a cannabis house, which is fine. I'm not sitting here saying that they can't grow. I am not an avid smoker. I haven't done that in years, but I can say that this is not just your regular everyday farm. Right. So, who funds them? All right. Where did they get their funding from? Now, let me see if I can pull up my Chat GPT, because I was looking this up a couple of minutes ago. And I was looking at what companies funded this farm. All right. So I tried to look up to see if they did any nonprofit stuff or whatnot. They didn't. They didn't have any information on that. But they did secure $100 million. So here's what I found. It said, what U.S.-based private credit fund did he secure $100 million from? And he said they secured the $100 million private facility from White Hawk Capital Partners, a U.S.-based private credit investment manager. The details as followed. White Hawk Capital Partners, private credit investment manager, socialized as an asset-based financing for middle market companies. I guess $100 million would be middle market. Purpose and key terms. As you can see there, that's stuff that we probably don't care about. Why it matters, upscale cultivation, and then what I asked was, what is White Hawk famously known for, and what type of organizations do they donate for charity? All right, so they don't really do as much in charity as they do for middle business, which I can respect, right? I'm totally okay with that, but may I lead you to my next finding. All right. This is White Hawk. All right. White Hawk News on their own personal site. And this tells you exactly who they buy. It doesn't necessarily tell you why, but it tells you who they did. All right. So let's move down to right here. May 21st, 2024. Now, why is this company Media Co. Why did this stick out to me? It says Los Angeles White Hawk Capital Partners LP White Hawk, a private credit investment manager focused on asset-based financing solutions, announced that it entered into agreement with Media Co. Holding Inc. to provide a $45 million first lien term loan facility On April 17, 2024, MediaCo used proceeds of facility to finance an acquisition of Estrella Media Network content, digital, and commercial operations. Now, who is MediaCo? Well, I did some digging and I figured out who they are. Boom. It's a Spanish site. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is related, but the first thing that popped up was register to vote in Spanish. Why so? Out of all the other companies that they had, right? Because here's another weird acquisition, which is Black Rifle Coffee Company. So you would think that that would be completely opposite, right? So who knows? Again, I'm not implying anything, but I'm just going off the information that I'm given, right? So provides credit facility to Black Rifle Coffee Company, and I'm assuming that this is a right-leaning company at least. And that's on August 24th, 2023, and then May 21st, 2024, the MediaCo, which is a Spanish company at minimum. And as you can see, they have everything listed right here. So, for me, I'm thinking that maybe this is a communication company. Well, obviously it's a communication company, but they're communicating to these people on what to do, how to go about their lives, what to do in certain situations, things like that, right? But that's if you go way off the deep end. Or maybe this is just a random coincidence. But for some reason that stuck out to me. I don't know why, but it did. So, I don't know. Those are some things for you guys to think about while I uncover the rest, because I will be coming back to this at a later date. Anyways, now for what you guys were all here for. All right? So let's rip the mask off of one of the most scandalous names in modern American history, Jeffrey Epstein, from Wall Street mystique to a private island of horrors, whatever you want to call it. Tonight, Uncensored segment is not for the faint of heart. This is Jeffrey Epstein, Uncensored. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with who is Jeffrey Epstein. Now, most of us know who Jeffrey Epstein is now, but let's kind of go over his life, right? And let's figure out, like, what was he like beforehand, and then how do we get into the situation that we're in now? All right, so this is from the Britannica. Jeffrey Epstein, born January 20th, 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. He died August 10th, 2019. You all knew that. An American financier and convicted sex offender who was accused of serial sex trafficking of women and girls, some under the age of 16. Through his successful financial career, Epstein became a multimillionaire and developed a social circle that included extremely wealthy individuals, prominent politicians, and even royalty. While jailed and awaiting a federal sex trafficking trial, Epstein killed himself by hanging. Epstein was the first of two children born by Paula Epstein and Seymour Epstein, who both themselves were children of Jewish immigrants. His mother was a homemaker, and his father worked as a groundskeeper and a gardener for the New York City Parks Department. The family lived in a middle-class neighborhood of Brooklyn known as Seagate, situated in the western shore of Coney Island. Epstein was a talented student who excelled in mathematics. He also was a skilled pianist. He attended Lafayette High School in Gravesend, Brooklyn, whose student body was mostly Italian-American. I don't know why that matters. It was thought that Epstein may have faced some anti-Semitism during his time there. He graduated in 1969, having skipped 2 grades. Later that year, he enrolled at the Cooper Union for Advancement of Science and Art, where he studied until 1971, where he transferred to the Courant Institute of Mathematical Science at New York University, or NYU. He studied at NYU for 3 years, but did not graduate. Now, he gained prominence in elite financial and political circles despite mysterious wealth origins, right? Because he was known for like lavish lifestyles and elite connections. He operated a private network alleged to have trafficked and abused underage girls. We all know that. And it makes you wonder, like, what drives a person to get that way? I don't know. I don't know what would drive, anyone to be put in that position unless, you have to kind of get the connection there, which is wealthy elite. Because that seems to be the only thing that seems to be the connection is wealthy elite. Either that or powerful elite. Wealthy, powerful, insert adjective or whatever there. Anyways. So, his collegiate and academic career, right? So from Wiki, he attended the National Music Camp in the Interlock Center of the Arts. He began the piano when he was 5, regarded as a talented musician. Graduated in 1969 from Lafayette High School at age 16. Later that year, he attended math classes at Cooper Union. He changed colleges in 1971. From September 1971, he attended the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences. Yes, we left without his degree. Now, let's talk about how he made his fortune. All right, he joined Bear Stearns in 1976 as a low-level junior assistant to the floor trader. He swiftly moved up to become an options trader, working in the special productions division, and then advised the bank's wealthiest clients, such as Seagram President Edgar Bronfman, on tax mitigation strategies. Jimmy Kane, the bank's later chief executive officer, praised Epstein's skill with wealthy clients and complex products. In 1980, 4 years after joining Bear Stearns, Epstein became a limited partner. In 1981, Epstein was asked to leave Bear Stearns for, according to his own sworn testimony, being guilty of a Regulation D violation. Even though Epstein departed abruptly, he remained close to Kane at Greenberg, as was a client of Bear Stearns until the collapse of 2008. All right, so it was alleged that he had used blackmail and compromising materials as leverage, right? And he claimed to manage billionaires' money for clients largely anonymous, but how do we know that? We really don't. And still to this day, we really don't know how he made his fortune. Which is very odd, considering that the government knows exactly how much I've made my entire life. Now, I'm the one that has to go and set up all of my tax information, and they're like, hey, by the way, we know how much you made, but we're not going to tell you how much you made. You just have to get it right. Because if you don't, and you screw up even a little bit, we're going to come after you. Who's dealt with that before, right? So, let's go over to Bloomberg, and let's see what type of connections that they think he had.
This really is what a lot of people have been talking about. And this is, who is Jeffrey Epstein, who is in his inner circle and has been for the years when he's accused of abusing sexually underage girls. And Leslie Wexner, the retail mogul behind Victoria's Secret, has gotten kind of caught up in this whole debacle. How is he involved here, Leslie Wexner?
So on one hand, he's not involved in this issue at all, but on the other hand, he does have very close ties to Jeff Epstein that it will potentially hurt his business a lot. We have in the story a former CFO of The Limited, which is a precursor company to the L brand, saying that the relationship was not on par. And then on top of that, there was the fact that Les Wexner said that he severed ties with Epstein more than 12 years ago, around the time when he was initially arrested. But
it all goes back in part to the question of how did Jeff Epstein make that much money?
Yes.
I mean, they say it's $500 million. How did he make $500 million managing someone's money? And he actually, the reports are, at least that Mr. Wexner gave him this really expensive townhouse here.
Yeah. So there was a transfer of the townhouse. It's very blurry if you look at how that happened for zero, and then there's payment. It's unclear, the money trail. And then also, don't forget, he also transferred the jet over, a Boeing 727.
But it really raises a question, because Victoria's Secret has been under fire for a long time, and trying to figure out how to rebrand at this point, given the fact that millennials and younger people are not that interested in the same sort of sex pot kind of allure that it really sold for a long time. It raises a question about the whole image of the company, especially because Leslie Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein, in the story written by Bloomberg colleagues, talking about how they were so intimately connected, not just with the townhouse, but with everything, with deals having to do with Victoria's Secret.
And I think what is even worse is the fact that after 12 years, he said that their ties were completely severed. But in 2008, there are still things going on in which both of their names are on the same paperwork.
Yeah, and we should just repeat where we started, which there's no allegation I'm aware of that Mr. Wexner was in any way involved in the conduct.
Not at all.
Rise to the indictment and things.
No.
It's just a question of where did Mr. Epstein really come from?
But I think that it'll be interesting to watch in markets whether there is a guilt by association, regardless of the legal proof or not. So, I think that you're absolutely right to just say there is no evidence linking the two. And yet you did see Victoria's Secret's L Brands shares dip a little bit when the first report started.
Oh. There's nothing linking the two? What kind of show do you think I have? You think I don't have receipts?
Leslie Wexner is a great example here. Leslie Wexner owns Victoria's Secret and L Brands, right? He's the bank that bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein. And I was saying earlier that he signed the power of attorney over to Jeffrey Epstein so that Jeffrey Epstein was able to sell his assets, manage his assets, buy on his behalf. He could sell Victoria's Secret without Leslie Wexner in the room or even his knowledge if he wanted to, because that's the level of power of attorney that he signed over to Jeffrey Epstein when he was his money manager. And the reason why you do that is so that you can claim that you don't know about his operation. He was just my money manager. I didn't know he was running this thing because I wasn't involved in any of those transactions. But what that meant is that Leslie Wexner damn well knew. There's a whole, we could go into the mega group and we could go into his connections to Charles Bronfman, all these other things.
But I was saying about the Victoria's Secrets, if you're a pedophile, you want to work with kids, a Nickelodeon. If you're a freak, what do? You get in the underwear
That's how
business.
they're recruiting, is they're recruiting from the Victoria's Secret modeling, and Jeffrey Epstein was claiming that he was a rep. But do you know about the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch that went down for running a sex trafficking ring?
Yeah.
He was Leslie Wexner's guy. When Leslie Wexner, he bought Abercrombie and Fitch in like 1990, maybe 91, 89. And then one of the first things he did was he put that dude into position as CEO. That was Leslie Wexner's dude. And he becomes the CEO, and he's gay, and he likes really hot young male models. And he started running a male sex trafficking ring out of Abercrombie and Fitch. So Leslie Wexner, this dude who is a self-proclaimed possessed by a demon.
What?
Yeah. Whitney has a whole chapter where she goes into this article that was done by a mainstream news source like 10, 20 years ago, where they're interviewing Leslie Wexner and asking him about how he came to power and what's his secret. It's called his D-Book, D-Y-B-U-K, and you can read about this on Wikipedia as well. And he describes in his own words that he's possessed by a D-Book, which is like a Yiddish word for an evil demon that drives him for more and more and more and more. This is in his own words.
Is he being hyperbolic? Is
A
he
little
joking
bit.
around? Like,
No.
oh, I'm possessed by a demon that just wants more and more. I just want to be successful.
No, I mean, I mean, I wasn't in the room, but I assume based upon the wording and how it's put, I assume
let's
it's like,
find it.
yeah,
We'll
it's like
find it. I want to read that.
It's like a billionaire. I mean, it's in the text. It's directly quoted in the text in One Nation Under Blackmail, actually, which is in that backpack.
One Nation Under Blackmail.
One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. Highly recommend, but it's super dense. It's a hard read. I've read it 3 times now, and I still am taking notes and trying to look things up to understand it because she's just so researched. And it's things like this where she's gone back to the original like article where they were interviewing him, and he's just like a CEO. So they're just asking him, "What's your secret to success?" And Leslie Wexner is a great example.
There are people here that do their research. There are other people that do research better than I do. That's why I find these people, right? And, you know, this is very interesting because I don't know if you guys remember that there was a whole scandal with Abercrombie and Fitch that he was just talking about. And there was a whole Netflix special that was on it. And I remember watching that and seeing how horrible it was. Now, of course, you know, the one thing that everybody remembers is the quote unquote racism, you know, where black people were always in the back and white people were always in the front. But that was not necessarily the whole point, even though they tried to make it seem like that was the point. But it was clear that the biggest problem was that the CEO clearly liked younger gay boys. And I don't want to sit here and, again, like, your preference is your preference. I don't care. But when it comes to people that don't know, number one, children, obviously, that's out of the question. But when it comes to people who don't really come from much and you give them an opportunity to do something, but what you ask for in return is something that you know that they wouldn't necessarily do themselves, but feel like that they're inclined to do just because you're wealthy and powerful. And if you wonder why there are so many people in the United States today that don't trust people with money, is because of things like this. And it's clear, right? You know, because, again, it's all about blackmail. It's all about, you know, using leverage against people to get them to do what you want them to do. Now, that has nothing to do with business when it comes to things like that. So that brings us to Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine, or however you call her name. I mean, that is a very weird way to spell it. But how did he meet her, and what exactly did they do together? So let's find out.
Role as Epstein's co-conspirator, for which she is now serving a 20-year jail term, is well known. But in truth, it went well beyond Maxwell. The pair devised a scheme to feed Epstein's voracious appetite. They lured poverty-stricken girls in with cash, fanning their dreams of a better life. According to journalist Lucia Osborne-Crowley.
Did I not just say that? I was talking about Abercrombie and Fitch, but they literally just said it here.
By the time the sexual abuse began, many were too invested in their promises to get out.
This was a well-oiled machine of finding vulnerable young girls who really needed someone to look after them, and then also using those girls to try and entrap younger and younger girls. And a lot of that, it seems, was developed in Florida.
How many girls do you think you brought to Jeffrey Epstein?
At the minimum 50, but anywhere from 50 to 70 girls.
And what were their ages?
The same ages of me, 14, 15, 16. I just hold a lot of guilt and shame for doing those things. And just to know that I had any influence on that happening to somebody else, just, you know, it's just devastating and breaks my heart.
Epstein's vile pyramid scheme might have continued unchecked if not for the stepmother of one of his teenage victims, who called the Palm Beach Police Department in 2005.
It was an incident that occurred maybe like 3.5 weeks ago with one of my stepdaughters. Found out that
Okay, I think we're getting a little too far ahead here. But obviously, they met in the early 1990s after Robert Maxwell's death. Ghislaine introduced Epstein to elite European and American social circles. Alleged co-conspirator in Epstein's sex trafficking ring. Obviously, she was convicted in 2021, but we'll get to that. Accused of recruiting and grooming underage girls for Epstein. A lot of horrible stories. I mean, I have the entire Epstein trial, or at least his first trial. I mean, I looked it up and went through the entire thing, and it was brutal. And I'm glad there was no video. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not getting into that. But it was tough to read, to say the least. But that begs to wonder, who visited Epstein Island during that time period. Now, this obviously is, this is news bearing Trump, but obviously this is probably either a satire site or whatnot. But this was copied and pasted all over the internet. And the names that are on this list have been documented well before this account even existed. So this is why I'm bringing this up. I can care less to read about what they have up there at the top, but here are the names that were allegedly on that list. Again, I say allegedly very strongly because none of us know this information, right? But it's clear that there's most likely probably some of the people that are on this list, at least, that have been at that island. What they did there, we have no idea. We don't have the tapes. We cannot speculate. The only person that has it is Pam Bondi, who is under massive fire right now. Especially with some of the things that she said now versus some of the things she said earlier in the year. Now, I would like to give her the benefit of the doubt, but what you also have to remember is that there's enough information that's out there to where she's behind the 8 ball on a lot of information that she said. Now, I'm going through this list very slowly so that anybody that rewatches this episode can go ahead and see what's going on. But again, like I said, this is the alleged list. This is not a real list. I do not have access to the DOJ. I do not have access to the FBI files. I do not have access to the Epstein files. We're just seeing what's out there. All right. I'm not going to repeat any of the names because I don't want to get sued. But then again, this is not my personal account. So therefore, take this with a grain of salt. But I will say this. If your name is on that list, your days are numbered. There are a lot of people complaining that Donald Trump's name is not on this list. We don't know if he visited the island. We probably never will. But I can tell you this. If Donald Trump's name was on that list, it would have been released a long time ago. But I will also say this. If his name is on that list, he better be investigated. But if him being president twice doesn't tell you if his name is on that list and they have not shown that he was on that list, then that means that the people that are showing it are also compromised. So who can you trust? How do you know? Nobody does. Which makes me wonder, like, you have the arrest, trial, and verdict, did 10 months. What did he do after that until the second time that he got arrested? Right? Because the allegation surfaced in 2005 from a 14-year-old girl. You heard the call just earlier. And then there was it was investigated by Palm Beach PD, and over 36 girls came forward. By the way, Pam Bondi was the AG of Florida during that time. But the federal charges were reduced to a controversial plea deal, which was, I'm sorry, it wasn't 14 months. It was a 13-month sentence with work release. Who on earth, on the entire planet, or in the United States at least, has ever got a plea deal on something like this? Who has ever got a work release knowing that they've done something like this? How many people are compromised, not just in the federal government, but in state governments, in big business, billionaires, world leaders? How many people are compromised to the point where you can get work release? Because if this were me, could you imagine? I literally would be doing like 80 life sentences. So we know it's not about the money, because no money is going to get you out of that. So how on earth does he get a sweetheart deal like that? I'm kind of perplexed, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I can tell you right now, the state of Florida failed. I wonder who was governor at that time. I have to figure it out. But the deal was brokered by Alexander Acosta, later Trump's labor secretary. That's interesting. Care to explain, Trump? Because nobody's left innocent out of this. Well, innocent until proven guilty, but you don't just get away with it and think you're going to sweep it under the rug. I don't care who you are. Because it was widely condemned as a miscarriage of justice, which it clearly was. So what happened in between then? So he lived lavishly, obviously. You know, retained political and financial influence. You know, registered as a sex offender, but moved freely between New York City, between Paris, the Caribbean, wherever he wanted to go. Though there's not one other person in this country that probably has the ability to do that, unless they made way more money than he did. And then, of course, in 2018, the Miami Herald expose reignited interest and led to new investigations. And then, of course, as a renewed scrutiny resulted in the rearrest of Jeffrey Epstein. Because obviously they had to do it. Because there was probably enough pressure that was going on. How many journalists had information about this that were not allowed to talk about it? And why? I can't even tell, like, what do you do in that situation? I mean, there are people that have committed suicide because of this. There are people that have lost their jobs, that have resorted to drugs, all because they had information about this. Where's the justice in that? Then, of course, It was the infamous day.
Breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City. Epstein was facing sex trafficking charges. NBC News investigative correspondent Tom Winter now has the very latest. Tom, what more do we know?
Peter, what we know now is that at 6:39 this morning, the fire department and EMS here in New York City got a phone call from MCC, which is a federal detention facility here in Manhattan in New York City, where Jeffrey Epstein was being held awaiting trial. They took him to New York's downtown hospital. He was in cardiac arrest. And he was pronounced there. What we know from officials that have been briefed on what happened, he was found and appeared that he had hung himself in his cell or wherever he was being held within MCC, and he was found by prison officials this morning, and that's when they reached out and they called EMS in unsuccessful attempts to revive him. So that happened early this morning, and right now what we're trying to do is figure out if he was still on suicide watch, because there was an incident that occurred several weeks ago where he injured himself. It wasn't quite clear if that was an attempt on his life, an attempt to perhaps stage an attack. The details of that were never really kind of hashed out, if you will. So this morning there's some significant questions on how somebody who, it was such a high-profile defendant, somebody who had connections that went up to a current president, could be found dead, and how this could have happened.
Yeah, Tom, you're exactly right. Again, for our audience just joining us right now, NBC News has now confirmed that financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life at a jail here in New York City. We will, of course, be following the latest developments over the course of this day.
Ruled suicide by hanging himself, but a medical examiner. Guards failed to check on him. Cameras malfunctioned. That's it. Close up shop. Have a nice day, everybody. That was the answer that we got. So what makes you think that anybody was going to sit there and just be like, oh, yeah, that's what happened? Obviously, something was going on. And either there was something that happened that we don't know about, or they allowed this to happen. But those are the only two answers that I can come up with. Because there's no way you're going to sit there and tell me in probably the most secure facility on planet Earth that something like that's going to happen. In fact, when was the last time it did happen inside of that facility? Somebody answer that question. Because I guarantee you everybody's on their phone trying to Google it right now. And it's probably not in the 2000s. The DOJ investigation found multiple protocol violations. What violations were they? And it sparked global conspiracies across political lines. Of course it did. All sides stopped and said, wait a minute. There's no way that this happened on its own. Left, right, conservative, liberal, libertarian, constitutionalist, doesn't matter. We all know that that didn't just happen, right? So let's go over the conspiracy theory, shall we? Because this is fun. Because remember all the Epstein didn't kill himself, like epic memes that came out. That's how non-serious everybody put this. And they say it's an alleged blackmail operation tied to intelligence agencies, CIA, Mossad. I keep hearing this, Mossad. Yeah, that's right, Rick. Let's get that tinfoil do-rag on. Which, do I still have it? No, I lost it. I must have thrown it away. No, I just lost There we go. All right, now you can see me. Yeah, this is definitely a tinfoil do-rag moment. I need to create a bump for that. That's hilarious. You know, because they believe that Epstein used sex trafficking to compromise elites. And it's not just, I'm not just saying this. I mean, these are things that are being said by elites. And then some people are saying that he's alive, under protection, no independent confirmation. Obviously, he's probably dead by now, if that were the case. But the public completely eroded the trust and want elites held accountable. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be no elites held accountable. None. By the time we figure out who was on that list, they will all be dead. I'm going to tell you now, that's going to be a massive travesty. These are Epstein's moments, his final moments captured on camera. Doesn't seem like much, but the security cameras weren't working. Hello, Sarah. How are you doing? What? What? My leg started burning today. My pepper spray was stuck in the position in my pocket. Ouch! Well, at least you got something to protect yourself with. My goodness. Rick Madison says, the biggest case of, quote, if you have enough money, then you can get away with anything ever. And justice was not even in the same galaxy as elites. Truly a sad moment. Absolutely. Hey, she's doing well. If you guys don't know who Sarah Riz over here is, she is she's the co-host of the Drive-In on the ROMA Nation network. So you guys should check her out. Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's just a lot of funny stuff going on with this because I've never seen one person get away with so much even after they were dead. Not even when they were alive, when they were dead. So it's clear that there's an issue here. Because he seemed to have more power in his own jail cell than the security guards did with all the resources in the world. Look at OJ. He got away with it. Give me ones in the chat if you want me to do an OJ uncensored. I'll totally do an OJ uncensored because it involves sports. And I love sports, especially football. Let's go. Never leave home without my spray. Oh, look at that. I got ones all over the place. Look at this. Yes. Yes. Keep bringing them. All right. I will definitely do an OJ uncensored because that would be great. If you guys didn't know any of my uncensored series, earlier this year, I did an uncensored series on the 1960s. The first one was JFK. Then it was Martin Luther King, then RFK, and then Malcolm X. Check out some of the stuff that I've got there. It was amazing. But anyways, let's get back to it because we're running against it here. So let's see what Pam Bondi had to say and what got everybody so up in arms, including Dan Bongino.
I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide.
Did anybody believe her? Anyone? And by the way, I just talked about JFK and MLK. Check out my series. I'll give you way more information than she did. My goodness. Weak. Sarah, what you should have said is weak sauce. Yeah. Not buying it. Not buying it at all. She's a gatekeeper. She doesn't have the key. She doesn't want the key to open the gates. Okay, well, give me the key. I'll open the gates. I have no problem opening the gates. Where's Nick Sorter? Nick, where are you at, bro? Let's go open the gates together. We'll be holding hands as well. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so here's one of the victims, or at least alleged victims, of Jeffrey Epstein. And let's see what she has to say about that.
Wow, Donald Trump, America, government. Your government kidnapped me. You promised the Epstein list. Victims are being found dead. Hello. I mean, the whole reason you gained presidency, Trump, was because of promising the Epstein list. Are you as much of a liar as them? You know, and thank goodness for Elon Musk for actually standing up for what's right. You know, it's funny how only South Africans stand up, because where are the other 200 Epstein victims? Although maybe they're too frightened to speak out because of the American government. Well, I speak for all of them. I speak for all victims. How dare your government abuse, rape, and murder?
Believe her or not, but this did happen. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But I know who does know what else to say. Your favorite British anchor, Piers Morgan. Let's go.
We've already passed debacle territory, but just outright grift. And that's probably not something that you would expect me to say, but this is just absolutely reprehensible. I think if you look at what really the
I'm sorry. Why is Destiny here? Why is Destiny getting all this airtime? No, seriously. Pause for a second. Why is Destiny there? What the hell does he have to say about this? He clearly is unhinged. I don't understand how he keeps getting airtime. Stop giving Destiny airtime. He will go away. I promise. Jesus Christ. All right, let's continue.
base, the people who elected President Trump, what their sort of concerns have been these past few months is that the administration is not moving fast enough, right? They're not content with the press releases and the tweets. They want to see prison sentences and actual accountability for people that they believe committed crimes. Now we've hit the point where we're not even getting the press releases or the strongly worded letters. We're getting weird, undated, unnamed memos being released over holiday weekends to legacy media outlets trying to bury it in Axios instead of working with all the new media outlets that the White House, pumped and talked so openly and heavily about being in and around the White House. I mean, this is a bedrock issue. I know, I agree, it's nonpartisan, it's non-political to want to get justice for the victims, but I also think that this is something that is both hyper-partisan and hyper-political, because what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, whether it's a foreign intel operation or domestic aside or joint operation, has direct ramifications and probably the policies that we've seen being rolled out, whether through blackmail indirectly or directly through a lot of the political leaders in this nation. I would just say, as someone who has been on shows, co-hosted with a lot of the people, the clips that we've played of people who have called out Jeffrey Epstein for years and made millions of dollars off of it, it is absolutely reprehensible and it is a complete grift. And you have now, in their words, probably become the deep state. If you're going to run cover for this and you think that the MAGA audience is dumb enough to not, be able to go back 2 months and see the comments you were making on Fox News, we need to get this right. I don't even know if I have faith in Pam Bondi anymore, but this is a really, really concerning moment for MAGA.
Well, there you have it. But you think I was done? Oh, no, I'm not done yet. I'm definitely not done yet. Let's see what this guy has to say.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory.
I mean, the state of Texas, that's what they do. This might be a Supreme Court case in the near future, especially with people that have been accused of this and have lost money, lost their jobs, lost their families, lost their house, lost their kids, lost everything because of it. What, do you expect them to just walk away and just be like, oh, well, I lost all of this. I guess I'll just, go wave my tail between my legs in a corner? Absolutely not. This will come to light. At some point, this will come to light. This is a very tough subject, but obviously, if you are a victim of rape, don't hold back. But also remember that if you're doing this just to get attention, you are no better. In any case. Because situations like this that need to have attention. That was Epstein Uncensored. All right, we got 2 minutes, so let's lighten the mood, shall we? With the bee or not the bee? That's the question.
One's from the Babylon Bee, the other's a real dumpster fire. This is the bee or not the bee.
All right, so let's do the bee or not the bee. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 articles. All right. One is from the Babylon Bee, and the other from a refutable news source. All right. So let me pull my banners here. You let me know which one is the bee. All right. So, number 1. Sorry, AI tech lords. Human flaws make life worth living. Number 2. Article number 2. Report. Trump bill will cause 175 billion people to lose Medicaid and die. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. How many people are going to lose this? All right. What do we got over here in Rumble? Nothing. All right. I'm going to move back then. All right. So again, this is the bee or not the bee. You're going to choose in the audience by putting a 1 in the chat if you think it's article number 1, or 2 in the chat if it's article number 2. All right. So one more time. Article number 1. Sorry, AI tech lords. Human flaws make life worth living. Article number 2. Report. Trump bill will cause 175 billion people to lose Medicaid and die. All right. 2 is the B. We don't have 175 billion people on planet Earth, only 8 billion. T-Bone says number 2. Number 2. Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man. Well, I hope you guys are ready for this, because let's go over article number 1. Sorry, AI tech lords. Human flaws make life worth living. From the New York Post. That's right. 1944, John Porter satire acidly pinned the line, "Hell is on other people," without the benefit of ever visited a water park. Nonetheless, other people are talking about beating these days. In an interview with the New York Times, Ross thought last week billionaire techno-furist Peter Thiel suggested to answer whether he thinks humanity should continue to exist as artificial intelligence continues to gobble up more of our brain activity. So which means you guys were absolutely correct. Number 2, the Babylon Bee report Trump bill will cause 175 billion people to lose Medicaid and die. With none other than you know who. All right. Alarming report from the Foundation of Communal Socialistic Equality has confirmed that Trump's signature of the Big Beautiful Bill will cause 175 billion people to lose their Medicaid, to die horrible deaths. Experts who wrote the study are calling the legislators to reject the bill before it's too late. Quote, "It is worse than we thought," said Dr. Kelly Perrisman of the FCSE on CNN. Trump will personally murder 175 billion people and maybe more. That's hilarious. You know what else is hilarious? Is how many people have not gone to riseofmiddleamerica.com. We get the local news, rants, and deep dives to get you through the week. Not only that, we have way more podcasts than just news. That's right. You want to be a researcher, writer, podcast host, producer, this is your launch pad. Get the top of the page. That's where we have our Discord, all of our socials, all right there. We've got history, news, pop culture, true crime, you name it, it's all there. And this podcast community is only getting bigger. And T-Bone says, check out the drive-in. Yes, T-Bone, we will check out the drive-in. He's the host of the drive-in. Pop Culture with T-Bone and Sarah Riz. Don't forget about that. We also have a TikTok, ROMA.Nation. Go check out our shorts over there. You guys will love that. But anyways, with that being said, thank you for joining us for ROMA Nation tonight. We will see you next week on Friday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm AK, your favorite guy, host of ROMA Nation. You can find me on X at @therealRoma_AK. Please subscribe to me there, where you can get some secret information about what's happening in the future, especially over the next 2 weeks, because I got some things to tell you guys. So we will see you later.
Hustle in my veins, no rest, no dream, trying to make a way. Whole team gotta eat. No sleep, gotta keep going. No sleep till the world know it. No sleep till the world know it. No sleep till the world know it. I've been moving like a clock, don't stop, no breaks, no rest, no time to flop. Gotta get it while I'm breathing, never taking a loss. See the pain in my eyes, but the vision stay locked. Ain't nobody finna hand me a thing. Came from the bottom, I rose through the rain. Hustle like I never had a meal on my plate. Now we eating so good that the hunger remains. Fast lane, never slowing my pace. Tell them I was built for the chase. Every night trying to double my worth. Put my name in the sky, make it shake up the earth. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Late nights turn to early moans. Put the work in till the break of dawn. They was sleeping on the kid, now they call my phone. Now the city know my name, I've been putting them on. Ayy, tunnel vision when I step on the field. Gotta keep it real, never sign no deal. Independent, gotta get it, never needed a cosign. When the world told me wait, I was like, no time. Tell them I was built for this. Every verse that I spit got a hit or a risk. Never fold, never quit, let them know I exist. Till they call my name and go, let it shine like this.